Imagine logging into your credit card account one day and seeing your available credit drop to zero because the bank closed your account without any warning. While any bank can close a credit card account, two banks stand out when it comes to account shutdowns: Capital One and Synchrony. After reviewing dozens of real-world account closure reports, clear patterns begin to emerge. Hey, I'm Jamie, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll look at why these shutdowns happen and what you can do to reduce your risk. Hey, quick heads up before we jump in. If you're applying for new credit cards, the worst thing you can do is guess and rack up unnecessary hard inquiries. Every application leaves a footprint on your credit report, so before you apply, it makes sense to know where you actually stand. That's why we put together a free credit card pre-approval master list. It shows you which cards allow you to check your approval odds before you apply. You can scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to access it for free. Now, let's get into it. Many people don't realize that credit card issuers generally have the right to close accounts at any time. Account shutdowns tend to become more common when banks are trying to reduce risk. Three factors often contribute to that environment: economic uncertainty, higher interest rates, and tighter lending standards. When banks see rising delinquencies and increasing credit card balances, they often become more conservative. That can mean fewer approvals, lower credit limits, and sometimes account closures. Now, let's look at Capital One. Among the major national banks, Capital One appeared frequently in the account closure reports reviewed. Three reasons stood out above the rest. Some account closures involved unusually high utilization. High utilization generally means using a large percentage of your available credit limit. In several cases, cardholders made large purchases across multiple cards within a short period of time. While high utilization alone doesn't guarantee an account closure, it appeared often enough to stand out as a recurring theme. Another common factor involved activity that triggered fraud-related concerns. Fraud doesn't necessarily mean someone stole your card. Banks also monitor for activity that appears unusual. Examples include sudden spending spikes, unusual purchase locations, multiple new authorized users, or activity that differs significantly from your normal account behavior. One lesson from many account closure reports is to look at what changed shortly before the shutdown occurred. Often, the trigger is a recent change rather than something that has been happening for years. The most common factor by far was returned payments. A returned payment occurs when a credit card payment is submitted but fails to clear. This can happen because of insufficient funds, incorrect payment information, or transfer issues between accounts. The consistent theme across the reports reviewed was that Capital One appeared highly sensitive to returned payments. Whether the issue was accidental or not, a failed payment can signal elevated risk from the bank's perspective. If you use AutoPay, it's a good idea to periodically verify that the correct bank account is linked and that sufficient funds are available before the payment date. While Capital One appeared frequently in the reports reviewed, Synchrony stood out even more. Three common themes appeared repeatedly. Just like Capital One, returned payments appeared regularly in closure reports. One important takeaway is that initiating a payment and successfully completing a payment are not the same thing. Even if you believe a payment was made, it's always worth confirming that the funds were actually received and posted. Like most banks, Synchrony appears to view return payments as a warning sign and may take action after repeated occurrences. Another recurring pattern involved credit exposure. Credit exposure refers to the total amount of credit a bank has extended to a single customer. Many affected cardholders had strong credit scores and solid payment histories. However, they also had multiple Synchrony accounts with substantial combined credit limits. Several reports involved customers holding 5 or more Synchrony accounts simultaneously. That pattern suggests Synchrony may have internal limits related to total exposure, total available credit, number of accounts, or some combination of all three. The most common factor by far was high credit utilization. Many closures involved elevated balances, heavy spending, or large balances spread across multiple Synchrony accounts. What's interesting is that missed payments were often not the issue. The common theme was elevated risk from the bank's perspective due to high balances, rapid spending growth, or both. Synchrony appears especially sensitive when large balances exist across multiple accounts at the same time. Using promotional financing isn't necessarily a problem. However, carrying large balances across several Synchrony cards simultaneously appears to increase the likelihood of adverse action. The good news is that a closure doesn't necessarily mean you're permanently blacklisted. Several reports showed cardholders eventually receiving approvals again after a period of time. However, getting an account reopened immediately appeared far less common. If your account is closed, one possible strategy is to address any issues that may have contributed to the closure. Improve your overall credit profile and then revisit future pre-approval opportunities later on. The two biggest lessons from the account closure reports reviewed are surprisingly simple. First, avoid return payments whenever possible. Second, be cautious about maintaining high balances across multiple accounts, especially with banks that appear particularly sensitive to credit exposure and utilization. Neither Capital One nor Synchrony publicly disclose every factor that goes into their account closure decisions. However, the patterns that appeared repeatedly across dozens of cardholder reports were difficult to ignore. Understanding those patterns may help you avoid finding yourself on the wrong side of an unexpected account shutdown. Hey, before you go, if you'd like to check your approval odds before applying for your next credit card, scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description below to access our free credit card pre-approval master list. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss any future content. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had a credit card unexpectedly closed? Drop a comment below and share your experience. I'm Jamie. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.